Hi guys, welcome back after a rather long break. Today we're going to have a further look at the anti-rust treatments and see how they're looking after 6 months out in the salt air down here on the south coast of the UK. We know who the winner is, but let's see how they're all standing up after 6 months outside in the weather. Let's take a look. Okay guys, so what are we doing here today? Well, about 7 months ago I looked at doing a video on how commonly available anti-rust treatments actually perform in the real world. We all know WD-40, we've all used ACF 50 at some stage, and we've all had reasonably good results. I wanted to see if we took 8 different products and just sprayed them on a piece of bare steel and then stuck them in the garden. And I'm down here on the south coast of the UK where it's a very salty environment much of the year as the wind blows from the southwest, and I wanted to see how well those bare pieces of steel stood up to being sprayed just the once with these products and then left outside in the elements as you might do a bike over winter. So what we're going to look at today is how they've survived out in the garden, out in the elements for 7 months, so from September right up to mid-April, so a full winter season if you will. And for those of you who haven't watched the previous episodes on this one, I think the kind of the 7 month in review will be quite surprising, shall we say. So I'm going to get the camera around in the back of the garden and show you how they're looking today. Let's take a look. Okay, so this is the rig that I used out in the garden. As you can see, most of them are very, very rusty now, with one pretty clear exception and a couple that aren't too bad. What I'm going to do now is take it inside so I can do some close-ups and go through in detail how each of them has fared over the 7 months. Okay, so looking at these products in effectively reverse order, there were 3 that stood out quite early on as being the ones that offer the least protection. And in the photos you'll see over the next few minutes, you can see that these are the ones that have no unrusty steel in the sample. They've all got completely rusty covering over the whole sample. So in joint 8th place, you've got the WD-40, the FS365 from Scottoiler, and the GT85. All of those have completely failed quite early on in the test, but you can see after one winter, if you will, that's the amount of rust you would have on your bike on a bit of steel that's completely without other treatment, if you will. Now, going on to the next one, it's quite hard to differentiate between the next couple, which is probably worse off. But in the end, I said, well, the worst one, and it's a bit of a shock to me and continues to be, and that's the ACF 50. Just a tiny little bit around where the screws screw in is unrusty, but to all intents and purposes, it's no better protected than basically the others, the WD, the FS365 and the GT85. Unfortunately, if it's out in the weathers, in all weathers, over one winter, I'm telling you now that the ACF 50 will simply just wash off. It's as simple as that. Disappointing. I've used it for many years. It's a great smell as well, but unfortunately it just doesn't protect as well as perhaps we thought. Then a little bit of a better product, although still not great, and that was the relatively new product from Muc-Off, the HCB-1. I've got that coming in at 4th place now. I think previously I had it in at 3rd, but after this 7 months I see it as being the 4th best here now. You can see there's a bit of area which has not succumbed to rust, but overall it's still pretty disappointing. There's lots of rust still on the steel, and that's only after 7 months. So better than the others, but still not as good as it could be. Going on to what I saw in 3rd place, that was one of the XCP professional products, the purple can. You can see, although there's a fair bit of rust on it, on the inner edge there is still some, or in the inner part of the sample, there is still a reasonable area that hasn't completely rusted. So it's showing some protection over one winter, but certainly wouldn't use that as your only protection if you wanted the maximum protection on your machine. Secondly, which I don't hear a lot about and perhaps we should hear a bit more about, because it looks to be a pretty good product, and that's TechCoat's TC200. Now I've got in at second place, as you can see. Yes, there's still rust on the sample, particularly on the left hand side, but underneath it's fared a lot better than all of the others, and I think that's quite interesting to see, especially from a product that we tend not to hear so much about. But finally, and as was the winner of in the test previously, and it continues to impress the heck out of me, I have to say, and that's the XCP Professional, the orange one. And there are the two ones, as I said just now. The purple one came in third. The orange can, which is a thicker product, it's almost like a thin wax oil rather than just an oily film. It's quite a heavyweight product. But as you can see here, that's bare steel, outside in a salty coastal environment for 7 months, and that's how well it's protected. You can see some spotting of rust on it here and there. You can see one of the edges where it's probably breaking through the sharp edge of the steel. You can see some rust bleeding out there, but that's bare steel out in a salty environment for 7 months. That is a huge difference, the amount of protection that that product is offering over the other products I've looked at over this test. Now, it's a fairly gloopy product. Would you want to spray it on every surface of your bike that you'd normally spray these products on? Maybe not. Maybe some of the engine cases, something like that, may not be suitable, but for things like frame and other sort of bits of steel that you know, swing arms perhaps, I think it's absolutely brilliant and comes heartily recommended from me. So I hope that's been of use to you guys. Let me know in the comments down below if you think I've missed something, or there's a product out there that you've used that you think's performed better. I might well do another test this coming year to see if there's other better products out there that have come to market. There we have it, guys. If you like the video, if you find it useful, then please click the old like button. If you consider subscribing, that would be great too, because we've got great content coming up over the next few months, including a test on what I think is still the UK's most popular powered two-wheeler. So stay tuned for that over the next couple of weeks. In the meantime, ride safe out there, and I'll catch you soon in the next one. Thanks a lot, guys. Cheers for now. Ta-ra.